Hello everyone, my name is Shade Olowokere. I am the CFS Liaison Coordinator with Elmwood Community Resource Center. I'm here today to discuss the overview of my duty as the CFS Liaison Officer. I will be going over my duties and how I connect family, how I support family, the advocacy job, and the prevention job. Thank you. The agenda of today is to introduce myself, introduce the CFS license duties, introduce you to the CFS roles and responsibilities, and the CFS license coordinator roles and responsibilities. Before we go ahead, I would like to acknowledge the land that we are on. Elmwood Community Resource Center acknowledges that the land that we meet on is 21 territory and is the ancestral and traditional land of the Cree, Ojibwe, Dakota, Dene, and Anishinaabe people and the homeland of the Métis Nation. We acknowledge that our water is sourced from Shoal Lake 40, a community that had been under a historical boil water advisory and represent only one of many communities who are still affected by similar conditions to this day. We recognize the effect of colonization and trauma on generations of families and stand in support of reconciliatory action and push for structural and societal change on every level. Who are we? Elmwood Community Resource Center is a family resource center located in the Elmwood East Kildonan neighborhood in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, with a mission to build community in Elmwood with resource and support that make the neighborhood a great place to live, work, and raise a family. ECRC focuses on holistic trauma-informed approach that is centered in anti-oppressive practice. ECRC celebrated their 20th anniversary in 2022 and was honored by the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba for their efforts in the community. Learning objectives for today. To better understand the Manitoba CFS system, understand what is the fact and what is the myth. To create awareness of the impacts of systemic inequalities in child welfare outcomes. To educate families on available community resources, to understand the broad overview of programs and services at ECRC, to enhance parenting techniques and ideas. And the method of today is a recorded information session that will be posted on all ECRC social media handles. And there will be opportunity to send questions to us through DMs, and we will be happy to answer those questions. So, brief literature review on CFS and CFS liaison position. In Manitoba, the Child and Family Service Division oversees child protection and family support under the Child and Family Service Act 1985. Its child protection branch delivers services such as investigation, risk assessment, adoption, licensing, and training. The current system developed from the Aboriginal Justice Inquiry Child Welfare Initiative 2000, which recognized First Nations and Métis authority in child welfare. Following the 2006 death of Phoenix Sinclair, reviews led to 295 reforms through changes for children, backed by a 42 million investment and a province-wide shift to a prevention-focused response model by 2011. While improvements were noted, broader social factors affecting child welfare remain unresolved. In 2021, Manitoba introduced CFS liaison services to support families at risk of child apprehension. Liaison officers work in community centers to connect families with resources, provide non-judgmental support, and reduce interventions. As part of the For Every Family initiative, the program has engaged over 10,400 families, helping prevent separations and support reunification, and is now expanding in Winnipeg. The roles of CFS and CFS liaison. CFS is responsible for protecting children, investigates child abuse allegations, perform risk assessment, and provide adoption services, licensing, and training. While the role of CFS liaison is to support families at risk of child apprehension, connect families with resources, provide non-judgmental support for the purpose of reducing CFS interventions. The CFS liaison officer role has been divided into four. One, it is the central point of contact, meaning connecting families with community resources. It also helps with system navigation through workshops. Families learn about CFS processes and how to navigate this process. As one-on-one mentoring, CFS liaison creates safe space for open conversations, guidance, and support. As advocates and point of referrals, the CFS liaison champions the best interests of the child and supporting families to navigate complex legal framework. So, starting with the topics of today is understanding child protection in Canada. What child protection means in Canada, the legal and social perspective. Child protection in Canada aims to safeguard children from abuse, neglect, and exploitation. It operates through mandatory reporting laws, providing an provincial and territorial legislations and social support services. Legally, it is guided by the best interest of the child standard. Socially, the approach has shifted towards strengthening families to help prevent the need for child apprehension. Roles of agencies like Child and Family Services. CFS and other mandated Child and Family Services are responsible for protecting children by investigating allegations of child abuse, performing risk assessment, provides adoption services, handles licensing, delivers training programs. When and why authorities may intervene. CFS authorities and mandated agencies intervene when a child is deemed in need of protection under the Child and Family Service Act. The primary goal is to ensure the safety, security, and well-being of children. Intervention often focuses on supporting families to stay together. CFS only remove children from danger in high-risk cases such as abuse and neglect. Common myths and realities. Despite the general belief of CFS to only apprehend, child and family service in Manitoba is shifting towards prevention rather than apprehension. Between 2023 and 2024, most families stay together and apprehension have dropped by 54% since 2016. Let's go over a few of the myths. 1. CFS main goal is to break up families and take away children. The reality is no. The primary goal is to keep children safe and return them home as quickly as when it is safe to do so. Over 75% of children involved with CFS are not in foster care, but with their families. Another myth: once a child is in care, they will never return home. The reality is no. Despite challenges like poverty and addiction, the goal is to reunite children with families when it is safe to do so. Another myth: indigenous children are only in care due to lack of food and poverty. No. Reality is indigenous children make up about 91%, which is largely due to lasting impact of colonial legacies, such as residential schools and the 60s schools. The next topic is systemic racism, historical roots of child welfare inequalities. Residential schools and 60 scopes policies resulted in intergenerational trauma, cultural dislocation, and the overrepresentation of indigenous children in the modern child welfare system. The impact of these policies are evident across several key areas today, such as long-lasting mental health struggles, substance use, and elevated suicide rates within indigenous communities. 2. A disproportionate number of First Nations, Métis, and Inuit children remain in foster care. Persistent socioeconomic gaps, lower average incomes, and systemic inequalities in healthcare access. Systemic barriers operate in institutions such as child welfare, education, and healthcare. Professionals and individuals are more likely to report indigenous families to child welfare than the dominant culture. Poverty was used as a single most important predictor of child apprehension and placement in the past. When an investigation is substantiated, indigenous children are more likely to be apprehended than children from dominant culture. Indigenous children remain in foster care longer, move more often, and receive fewer services. Colonial frameworks have profoundly disrupted indigenous families and minority communities across generations, creating systemic disadvantages that persist today. The impact manifests in several deep interconnected ways. 1. Cultural erasure and identity loss. This severed the transmission of language, spiritual practices, and traditional parenting knowledge. Socioeconomic disparities. This created dispossession of ancestral lands and systemic exclusion from economic opportunities, creating a cycle of poverty. There is also breakdown of family structures. Child welfare systems have historically undermined traditional families units and community support networks, creating cycles of abuse and instabilities. Health and wellness deficit. There is a high rate of physical and mental health challenges, substance use, and lower life expectancies within these communities. Legal and civic disenfranchisement. There is over-incarceration and continuous disenfranchisement of individuals from indigenous communities and other minority populations. are for anyone that has experienced the abuse through residential schools, 66 schools, or going through any form of abuse. There are resources to connect with through the Manitoba government website. There is National Indian Residential School Crisis line available 24/7. There is KUU US Crisis Line Society. There's First Nation and Inuit Hope for Wellness helpline. Please reach out to the center for more information. Our next topic is Canadian laws and parenting norms. Overview of laws related to child safety and neglect. Child safety and neglect laws in Canada are governed by provincial legislations such as Manitoba Child and Family Service Act. Anyone with reasonable grounds to suspect child abuse or neglect is legally required to report it. There are penalties for failing to report. Abuse can include physical, sexual, or emotional harm, as well as neglect. Next, children's rights versus parental responsibilities. In Manitoba, the CFS Act prioritizes a child's safety and well-being. When parents hold the primary right to raise children, the child has rights to be protected from abuse or neglect. Next, child's right. Children have the right to security, well-being, and care from their parents. Their best interest must be the top consideration in all decisions. Next, parental responsibilities. Parents have the primary responsibility to ensure the safety and well-being of their children. CFS offers a voluntary placement agreement (VPA) for parents who are unable to ensure their child's safety and well-being. You can also connect with ECRC if you're a parent struggling to ensure the safety of your child, or you know a parent that is struggling to ensure the safety of the child. Please refer them to ECRC. The next is difference between discipline and physical discipline. Discipline aims to teach, guide, and help children develop internal control, appropriate behavior, social skills, and self-respect. While physical discipline focuses on stopping behavior immediately through pain or physical discomfort, often leading to fear-based compliance. Next, age-appropriate supervision expectation. In Manitoba, children must be at least 12 to stay home alone or babysit. So a 13-year-old can legally look after younger children, but parents must still judge their maturity. Before letting your 12-year-old babysit alone, consider the following. Emergency prep. Can this child respond to emergencies like fire or injury and contact you quickly? Also consider the environment. Is the neighborhood secure, and is anyone available to help, such as neighbors? Also consider maturity. Has the child handled such emergency in the past? Next, we're going to go over rights, responsibilities, and advocacy. 1. Knowing your rights as a parent in Canada. In Canada, parents' rights are based on the best interest of the child. It focuses on care, guidance, and nurturing rather than ownership. Parents can make key decisions about education, health, and religion, and request parenting time provided the child is safe, supported, and nurtured. Child welfare authorities can intervene if a child is unsafe or experiencing neglect or abuse. Next, how to advocate for your child in school or healthcare. Advocating for your child means being an informed partner, documenting information, and communicating clearly and calmly. Key strategies include knowing your right, building positive relationships with teachers and doctors, and requesting support in writing. Ask questions when things are unclear. Stay organized and focus on collaborative solutions. Communicate main concern and desired outcome timely to ensure the provider understands the urgency. Seek support from higher authorities such as school districts, leadership, patient advocates in hospitals, or community resources centers, just like ECRC, if you encounter barriers. Next, supportive and empowering services to help navigate the child protection system. CFS Liaison is one of the many supportive and empowering services dedicated to supporting families. The Liaison service is a supportive service that helps families engaging with or at risk of engaging with CFS to prevent separation and support reunification. The liaison officers work in community centers such as ECRC. The liaison officer connects families with resources, provide non-judgmental support, and cultural responsive support. So we have an activity here that this is to identify what is safe, what is risky, and what is illegal with respect to parenting skills. So a parent sets reasonable rules and discipline without physical harm. That is safe. A child witnessing domestic violence that put them at risk. That is illegal. A caregiver appears overwhelmed, struggling with housing, mental health, and substance use. That is risky. There's an activity here that I'm going to share with us. It's about orchid plants and a child. Orchid plants compared to the child. The orchid plant requires specific temperature, humidity, and specialized watering techniques, rather than just routine watering and consistency. Children like orchids need to be cared for, specially and consistently. If you take good care of your orchid plant, you will have strong plants and a good harvest. It is the same with children. If you look after them consistently, they will grow strong. Our harvest is the next generation of children who will grow up to respond to any challenge as well as help the community. So, if we list all the items we need to care for a child, we'll find out that money is the least of things to care for a child. A child needs the family, a child needs extended family, a child needs resources and people in general. And this is where ECRC comes in, to connect these families to resources out there. So as we have come to the end of this session, I will quickly go over the session. I'll quickly wrap up on the session. So basically, what we have talked about today is the role of the CFS liaison workshop, the CFS liaison officer. The CFS licensing officer is an advocate. It's not CFS. We work with the family to advocate, to bridge the gap between the families and the CFS, for families that are engaged with CFS. And for families that are at risk of engaging, we also bridge the gap to prevent the engagement by providing services, by connecting the family to available resources and appropriate resources. So the key takeaways for us today will be that you are not going through this alone. You're not alone. If you're going through anything with CFS, you are not alone. There is services out here for you. There is support out here for you. The CFS liaison officer is here to hold your hand as you navigate this engagement with CFS. Thank you for listening. We are open to your feedback, questions. You can send your questions through the ECRC social media platforms. We'll be happy to reach out to you, connect with you. And if you know of any family that is going through some challenges with engagement with CFS, please refer them. And if you are going through this engagement, please reach out to us. Thank you very much. Again, my name is Shade Olowokere. I'm the CFS Licensing Coordinator at ECRC. I will be more than happy to connect with you, see how we can help. Thank you.